Okay. So, for an educator to plan the best unit, I would first say there's never going to be a best unit. For any given year, for any given month, for any given week, an educator is a human being. They're going to be wonderful highs and terrible lows. Their child might be sick, or their spouse might be upset with them, or their department's going through some political infighting. So, what I would say for the best unit is the educator needs to say, what's my end goal? What do I need the students to walk away with at the end of the unit? That's knowledge, that's skills, and it's also applicability. How can that student generalize the information? It's not just content mastery. It's not just skill acquisition, but it's also generalizability. It's how does this relate to other domains? Okay, so that's one. Two, have varied activities. The death knell for an adolescent student in high school now is to drag something out longer than 15 minutes. In core content classes, going on for 15, 20, 25 minutes at a time, it's doing a disservice to the students, and you're only going to build resentment towards yourself as an educator. I would recommend 12 to 15 minutes of direct instruction or coaching or examples or new content. And then you have to have 10 to 12 minutes of application, practice, time when students interact with each other, not just patiently, quietly abiding by the benevolent dictator. So to have chunks of time, it needs to be chunked. That is key. That is key. The third thing is student involvement. Student involvement. It cannot be a one-way presentation of information. It cannot simply be, watch me, I will show you a skill. It has to be students participating in the learning process themselves as not merely passive sponges. What does that mean? That means presenting a new idea and then saying to a student, okay, class, you give me an example. Come up with a new type of application for this. And let's just brainstorm. And the educator needs to make it safe for students to say the wrong answer. Make it safe for students to guess, to say, well, this probably wouldn't work, but what about? That is key for a best unit or best plan or what I would call best practice for student learning. Because and this is shown in Malcolm Gladwell's book. This is shown in time and time again in psychology and educational research. But it's not the take one shot and master it that is the key to learning by young people. It's experimentation. It's trial and error. It's understanding where the mistake was and then changing it so next time it's not a mistake. And so the learning environment has to be so welcoming and so comfortable. And teachers need to get away from no and wrong and bad and, well, that's just mixed up. Why would you think that? Well, you know what? If this young person is willing to put themselves out there in front of their peers, some of whom might be the opposite sex that they actually want to have a nice relationship with, if they're willing to do that for you, it is reprehensible that you would slam them down when they're making an effort. If they're making an effort, be a professional. Build on that. Show them how to make the structure more correct. Anything that comes out of a student's mouth, in my mind, is the beginning of correctness. It's never wrong. And we teachers, we've got to get away from that. We've got to get away from that because we're stifling their education. I tell my students almost every week, the biggest impediment to optimal student learning is the limitations of their teacher. So.